Did you know that right now, sitting in your fridge, your car's cup holder, or your gym bag, there is a plastic bottle filled with a liquid that could be actively messing with your hormones, your heart, and your kidneys? You reach for bottled water because you think you are making the healthy choice, opting out of tap water filled with fluoride and pipe rust. But what if I told you that 93% of every single bottle of water sold in Australian supermarkets like Woolworths and Coles contains microplastics, heavy metals, or industrial processing chemicals that regulatory authorities barely bother to test for? You are paying up to 2,000 times more than tap water prices for a product that might actually be worse for your body than drinking straight out of your garden hose. Stick around to the very end of this video because I'm going to expose 13 of the worst bottled water brands lining Australian shelves, including one mega popular brand caught selling treated groundwater right next to an industrial waste site, and 5 crystal clean alternatives you can actually trust. You will learn the exact lab-tested breakdown of what is lurking in your favorite hydration fix, how big food giants use cheap loopholes in Australian food standards to sell you glorified tap water, and which single brand sitting on your local Woolies shelf contains microplastics at levels that should terrify any parent. By the time we are done, you will know more about the water industry than 90% of the shoppers pushing trolleys through the drink aisle today. And trust me, the most shockingly deceptive brand on this list is sitting at number 1. Before we start naming names and tearing down slick corporate marketing, we have to look at the massive illusion the beverage industry has built around bottled water. When you see a sleek plastic bottle adorned with pictures of snow-capped mountains or crisp blue glaciers, your brain automatically fills in the blanks. You assume some pure, untouched stream in the pristine wilderness was tapped into by a humble local company just to bring you health in a bottle. The cold reality is that the vast majority of bottled water in Australia falls into 2 main categories: spring water and processed municipal water. Spring water comes from underground geological formations, flowing naturally to the surface where it picks up minerals like calcium, magnesium, and silica along the way. Processed water, which marketing teams love to hide under high-tech names like purified, electrolyte enhanced, or vapor distilled, is almost always extracted from basic town tap water. Here is how the corporate tap water hustle works. Giant multinational drink conglomerates take ordinary municipal tap water, the exact same stuff that comes out of your kitchen sink, for fractions of a cent per litre, and run it through high-pressure reverse osmosis filtration. Reverse osmosis is a brute force industrial process that strips out everything. It removes the bad stuff, sure, but it also strips out every single natural mineral, leaving the water completely flat and acidic. Because plain stripped water tastes like flat chemical nothingness, these companies then inject a tiny cocktail of synthetic industrial minerals, usually things like magnesium sulfate or potassium bicarbonate, back into the mix. They do not add these chemical salts to make you healthier. They add them purely so the water does not taste like a melted plastic bag. Then they put it in a shiny, single-use plastic bottle, slap a minimalist label on it, and charge you $4 at a petrol station. It is the ultimate legal margin scam. Then there is the issue of the container itself. Most single-use water bottles in Australia are made from polyethylene terephthalate, or PET. When PET plastic sits in warm delivery trucks, sits on sunlit pallets behind your local supermarket, or bakes in your car on a 35-degree summer afternoon in Sydney or Brisbane, it starts leaching chemical compounds into the liquid inside. We are talking about microplastics, microscopic shards of plastic that enter your bloodstream, along with endocrine-disrupting chemicals like phthalates and antimony. Lab analyses of bottled water globally have revealed hundreds of thousands of plastic particles per litre, substances that mimic estrogen in the human body, messing with your metabolic system, disrupting your thyroid, and straining your liver. Worst of all, Australian authorities like Food Standards Australia New Zealand set legal safety limits for chemical contaminants, but their testing regimens often rely on self-reporting from the very corporations making billions off these bottles. When independent labs test what is actually sitting on retail shelves, the results tell a completely different story. Let us rip off the slick labels and break down the absolute worst offenders sitting in Australian stores today. We are counting down 13 of the absolute worst offenders, moving from basic marketing rip-offs to outright biological hazards. Starting at number 13, Life WTR. Owned by beverage giant PepsiCo, this brand is plastered across supermarket end caps at Woolworths and petrol station fridges nationwide. Marketed as a premium designer water with rotating label artwork from trendy artists, a single 1-litre bottle will set you back around $4.50. But flip the bottle around and read the fine print. PepsiCo is not selling you pristine glacial melt. They are selling you municipal tap water extracted straight from urban reservoirs, run through standard reverse osmosis, and injected with synthetic magnesium sulfate and potassium bicarbonate. Independent testing by consumer groups showed that its pH balance claim of 6.4 to 7.4 offers zero physiological advantage over what comes out of your kitchen tap in Melbourne or Sydney for fractions of a cent. As Dr. Mark Houston from the Hypertension Institute noted, added synthetic inorganic salts in purified tap water provide no real cellular benefit compared to organic plant minerals. Verdict: you are dropping $4 for a piece of gallery art wrapped around council tap water. Number 12. Frantel. A staple in Australian pantries, petrol stations and office vending machines, Frantel is managed under the Asahi Beverages umbrella. It presents itself as pure Australian spring water, often sold in bulk 24 packs for around $12 at Coles and Woolworths, translating to about 50 cents a bottle. However, environmental and health disclosures highlight a glaring issue: packaging degradation. Frantel relies on ultra-thin, low-cost PET plastic bottles designed to cut manufacturing expense. When left in delivery trucks or hot Australian garages, the thin plastic wall degrades rapidly. Testing of budget PET bottles in Australia revealed elevated levels of antimony, a toxic metalloid used in plastic production, leaching into the liquid, along with noticeable microplastic shedding. Drinkers frequently complain of a chemical metallic aftertaste when the bottle gets even slightly warm. Verdict: it is cheap for a reason. You are drinking melted plastic with a splash of groundwater. Number 11. Mount Franklin, lightly sparkling, flavoured. Mount Franklin, owned by Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific Partners, is practically Australia's unofficial national water. While their standard spring water is everywhere, their lightly sparkling flavoured range, sold at Woolworths, Coles and IGA for $2.80 per 1.25 litre bottle, hides a dirty secret. To give you that subtle hint of passion fruit or lime without calories, Coca-Cola relies on non-specific natural flavours and food acids like citric acid, 330. Australian dental experts, including research published by the Australian Dental Association, warn that combining artificial carbonation with added food acids drops the liquid's pH down to an acidic 3.1. That is almost as erosive to tooth enamel as standard soft drinks. You think you are staying healthy, but you are slowly bathing your enamel in acid. Verdict: it is soft drink in disguise, stripping your teeth while wearing a wellness halo. Number 10. Dasani. While Coca-Cola largely replaced the infamous Dasani moniker with other sub-brands in local retail outlets, imported Dasani bottles still regularly show up in Australian specialty grocers, Asian supermarkets, and discount convenience stores for $3.50 a bottle. Dasani is the granddaddy of corporate cynicism. It is municipal tap water purified via reverse osmosis, stripped clean and remineralized with potassium chloride, magnesium sulfate, and salt. That is right, they add sodium back in. Lab tests demonstrate that this precise mineral cocktail leaves a dry, astringent coating on the tongue, intentionally triggering a sensation of thirst so you reach for another bottle. Verdict: Coca-Cola built a water brand that makes you thirsty on purpose. Number 9. Aquafina. PepsiCo's global juggernaut Aquafina is widely distributed across Australian fast food outlets, convenience stores, and Woolworths. Retailing at around $3.20 for a 600ml bottle, Aquafina undergoes a 7-step filtration process called Hydro 7. Sounds impressive, until you realize it is just high-pressure tap water processing. Lab analyses show that Aquafina's total dissolved solids count drops to near zero, meaning it is aggressive water that pulls trace minerals out of your saliva upon contact. Consumers consistently describe its taste as flat, plasticky, and industrial. Furthermore, PepsiCo was forced years ago to update its global labels to explicitly admit the water originates from public tap sources. Verdict: pure corporate profit extracted straight out of the local water grid. If your stomach is already turning, hit that subscribe button right now, because what is coming up next makes filtered tap water look like a luxury. Number 8. Pump Pure Water. Another Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific Partners flagship, Pump is ubiquitous across Australian gyms, sports fields, and service stations. Selling for $3.80 for a 750ml push-top bottle, Pump relies heavily on its active lifestyle branding. Yet choice consumer tests and lab breakdowns have repeatedly pointed out that Pump is processed municipal water treated with reverse osmosis. You are paying roughly $5.06 per litre for purified council tap water packaged in a squeezable plastic tube. Worse still, the specialized pull-top spout creates high friction during drinking, which microscopic friction testing shows releases elevated counts of microplastic fragments directly into your mouth as you squeeze. Verdict: an expensive gym accessory that pumps microplastics straight down your throat. Number 7. Nestlé Pure Life. Nestlé's infamous water brand, distributed across independent Australian grocers, Asian food markets and commercial suppliers, carries a global reputation that is absolutely toxic. A landmark international study published in Frontiers in Chemistry tested bottled water across major global brands, including Nestlé Pure Life, and found microplastic contamination in 93% of samples. Pure Life registered alarming spikes, with some batches containing thousands of microplastic particles per litre. Research links chronic ingestion of these microparticles to gut wall inflammation, disrupted lipid metabolism, and cardiovascular stress. Combine that with Nestlé's long history of pumping local aquifers dry for pennies, and every drop leaves a terrible taste. Verdict: the undisputed king of plastic pollution and corporate exploitation. Number 6. Smart Water. Glaceau. Smart Water, marketed in Australia under the Glaceau banner by Coca-Cola, charges a hefty $4.00 for an 850ml bottle at Coles, Woolworths, and Chemist Warehouse. The sleek vapor-distilled labelling features minimalist typography that screams luxury health. The process involves boiling municipal tap water, catching the steam, and adding electrolytes like calcium chloride, magnesium chloride, and potassium bicarbonate for taste. Vapor distillation requires massive energy consumption, only to recreate basic tap water with a handful of cheap industrial minerals added back in. Lab testing shows its electrolyte content is so low that it provides zero meaningful hydration advantage over standard tap water. Verdict: you are paying a 1000% premium for boiled tap water dressed up in minimalist font. Number 5. Core Hydration. Core Hydration hit Australian retail shelves with a massive celebrity-backed marketing push, claiming to be perfectly balanced to match the human body's natural pH of 7.4. Retailing at $4.20 for a 930ml bottle, it boasts about its ultra-purified water infused with electrolytes and minerals. But here is the biological catch. Your body tightly regulates its internal blood pH between 7.35 and 7.45 through your lungs and kidneys, regardless of what water you drink. Drinking tap water, which in most Australian capital cities naturally sits between 7.0 and 7.8, achieves the exact same physiological result. Paying over $4 for a contoured plastic bottle because it matches your blood pH is pure pseudoscientific theatre. Verdict: a textbook example of paying top dollar for basic biology wrapped in fancy plastic. Number 4. Essentia Water. Found in premium health food stores, select Woolworths outlets, and high-end grocers across Australia for $5.50 a bottle, Essentia claims to be overachieving H2O with an ionized alkaline pH of 9.5 or higher. They take public water, strip it, add trace minerals, and run it through an ionization process. But independent gastroenterology studies show that high alkaline water is instantly neutralized by hydrochloric acid the moment it hits your stomach. Worse yet, drinking excessively high alkaline liquids with meals can dilute stomach acid, causing impaired protein digestion, bloating, and poor nutrient absorption. You are paying $5.50 to mess up your stomach digestion. Verdict: an overpriced alkaline gimmick that does more harm to your digestion than good. Number 3. Fiji Water. Imported from the Yakara Valley of Viti Levu, Fiji Water is the ultimate status symbol, retailed at Woolworths, Coles, and hotel minibars for up to $4.80 for a 1-litre bottle. Fiji has faced fierce scrutiny over the years. Back in 2006, independent lab testing comparing Fiji to municipal tap water found Fiji contained trace levels of arsenic, around 6.31 micrograms per litre, which, while within legal limits, was higher than local municipal tap water in several tested cities. In 2024, a massive recall of nearly 1.9 million bottles occurred overseas due to manganese contamination and elevated bacterial levels. High exposure to manganese over time has been linked to neurological damage and motor skill impairment. Adding the massive carbon footprint of shipping plastic bottles across the Pacific, Fiji's pristine image is completely shattered. Verdict: high-status environmental toxicity with a history of contamination stumbles. Number 2. Starkey Spring Water / Whole Foods Imports. Starkey Spring Water, which has made its way into specialty Australian health food importers and online organic platforms, presents itself as pristine geothermal spring water from deep underground. However, Starkey gained international infamy when independent laboratory testing by Consumer Reports revealed arsenic levels reaching up to 9.56 parts per billion. That is right at the dangerous edge of global regulatory caps. Arsenic is a known Class 1 human carcinogen linked to skin lesions, bladder, kidney, and lung cancers. While the company scrambled to lower those levels in subsequent production runs, buying spring water that ever flirted with heavy metal poisoning is a game of Russian roulette. Verdict: liquid gamble that brings carcinogenic heavy metals far too close to your glass. Number 1. Propel Fitness Water. Claiming the absolute top spot for the most deceptive, chemically loaded disaster on Australian shelves is Propel Fitness Water, imported and distributed across select supermarkets, sports stores, and online retailers. Marketed as a zero-calorie fitness water enhanced with antioxidants and electrolytes, Propel charges around $4.50 a bottle. But take a look at the ingredient list. It contains over 20 distinct chemical additives, including artificial sweeteners like ACE-K, acesulfame potassium, and sucralose, alongside preservatives like potassium sorbate. Lab studies from the University of North Carolina linked chronic artificial sweetener consumption to disrupted gut microbiome biodiversity, altered glucose tolerance, and increased metabolic syndrome risk. Furthermore, a single bottle packs up to 230 milligrams of added sodium, meaning this fitness water can spike blood pressure in sensitive individuals. It is not water. It is an ultra-processed chemical soup hiding behind a fitness logo. Verdict: a toxic chemical cocktail that belongs in a hazardous waste bin, not your body. Right, here comes the part that made watching this far worth it. We have dragged the corporate tap water scammers through the mud, so now let us focus on 5 bottle brands sitting in Australian shops that actually deliver clean, mineral-rich, untainted hydration. Starting our good list at number 5, Evian Natural Mineral Water. Available in virtually every Woolworths, Coles, and independent supermarket across Australia for around $3.20 a 1-litre bottle, Evian has earned its reputation over 2 centuries. Sourced from the French Alps near Evian-les-Bains, every drop undergoes a natural 15-year filtration process through glacial sand and subterranean rock layers. Lab breakdowns confirm that Evian delivers a naturally balanced pH of 7.2, alongside a total dissolved solids count of roughly 345 milligrams per litre. It is packed with naturally occurring calcium, magnesium, and hydrogen carbonates. Magnesium plays a vital role in muscle recovery and metabolic function, while natural bicarbonates assist gastrointestinal digestion. Unlike the synthetic industrial salts injected into Life Water or Smart Water, Evian's mineral profile is 100% created by geological earth pressure. The minor trade-off? Because of its rich mineral profile, it has a slightly heavier, velvety mouthfeel that some drinkers take a few days to adjust to. But at just over $3 a bottle, it is an accessible gold standard for daily mineral replenishment. At number 4, Icelandic Glacial. Distributed widely through Coles, Woolworths, 7-Eleven, and Dan Murphy's for roughly $3.50 a 1-litre bottle, Icelandic Glacial is sourced directly from the Ölfus Spring in Iceland. The water filters through ancient volcanic lava rock over 5,000 years, creating a naturally high alkaline pH of 8.4. Because the lava rock acts as a natural carbon filter, it strips out harsh sulfur compounds while maintaining a light mineral balance. Clinical studies on natural alkaline spring water suggest that its native bicarbonate buffers can help reduce blood viscosity and post-exercise oxidative stress far more effectively than processed tap water. Moreover, Icelandic Glacial runs an entirely carbon-neutral facility powered by geothermal and hydroelectric energy, utilizing high-grade BPA-free packaging. Is it slightly pricier than budget spring water? Yes, but you are paying for pristine volcanic filtration with zero artificial ionization. Number 3, San Pellegrino. Available at Coles, Woolworths, IGA, and Harris Farm markets for around $3.50 for a 1-litre glass bottle, San Pellegrino is the heavy hitter of natural carbonated spring water. Originating from natural thermal springs in Val Brembana, Italy, the water spends 30 years filtering through limestone and rocks in the Italian Alps. It carries a massive natural total dissolved solids count exceeding 850 milligrams per litre, boasting heavy concentrations of natural calcium, sulfates, and magnesium. Gastroenterology research demonstrates that natural carbonation combined with high bicarbonate levels stimulates gallbladder emptying and aids gastric motility, making it an exceptional digestif after heavy meals. The glass packaging completely eliminates microplastic leaching and endocrine disruption risks. The downside? Its distinct mineral crispness and fine effervescence mean it is not an all-day chugging water, but as a dinner companion or substitute for soft drink, it is unmatched value for money. Number 2. Mount Ossa Tasmanian Natural Spring Water. Reaching for a premium local alternative found at Woolworths, Coles and specialty Australian grocers for around $3.80 per bottle, Mount Ossa is harvested from pristine protected catchments in the wilderness of Tasmania. Filtering through ancient quartzite and dolomite rock formations, Mount Ossa naturally delivers a pristine, ultra-clean profile with an exceptionally low mineral sediment level. Independent laboratory tests confirm near undetectable microplastic levels and total purity from agricultural runoff or heavy metal contamination. Because it passes through dense wilderness stone, it has a remarkably crisp, soft finish on the palate without any chalky residue. It comes packaged in premium glass and high-grade recyclable containers designed to prevent chemical leaching. You pay a bit more for Tasmanian isolation, but you are sipping untouched Australian wilderness rather than refiltered Sydney tap water. And sitting at number 1, S. Pellegrino's still sibling, Aqua Panna, alongside local artisanal glass-bottled Australian mountain waters. Retailing at Woolworths and premium grocers for around $4.00 for a 750 milliliter glass bottle, Aqua Panna originates from protected Tuscan Apennine springs. It is naturally filtered over 14 years through underground aquifers, emerging with a perfectly balanced, silky smooth pH of 8.0 and a natural silica content of roughly 49 milligrams per litre. Silica is crucial for collagen synthesis, joint integrity, and connective tissue health. Because Aqua Panna is predominantly bottled and distributed in heavy green glass, it completely bypasses the phthalate and microplastic nightmare associated with plastic PET bottles. There are 0 synthetic additives, 0 industrial processing loops, and 0 heavy metal spikes. It is smooth, biologically pristine, and bottled in glass as nature intended. If you want water that nourishes your cells without poisoning your endocrine system, this is what belongs on your table. Now that you know which brands belong in your pantry and which belong in the bin, here are 6 concrete rules to protect yourself next time you walk down the drink aisle at Woolworths, Coles, or Aldi. First, check the source label immediately. If the bottle says purified water, municipal source, or treated water, put it straight back on the shelf. You are paying 1,000% markup for processed tap water. Second, look specifically for the words natural spring water or natural mineral water sourced from a named subterranean aquifer. Third, check the packaging material whenever possible. Glass or high-grade aluminium bottles completely eliminate microplastic leaching and phthalates. Fourth, if you must buy plastic, never purchase bottles that have been sitting in hot sun display racks or left inside a warm delivery truck. Heat dramatically speeds up chemical leaching from low-cost PET plastics straight into the liquid. Fifth, ignore all marketing hype claiming artificial alkaline pH levels like 9.5+. Natural pH coming from volcanic or limestone rock is beneficial, but industrial ionization is just fancy corporate trickery. Sixth, watch out for added ingredients. Real water has one single ingredient, water. If you spot food acids, preservatives, or artificial sweeteners on the back label, you are holding a soft drink with a fake wellness halo. The takeaway here is simple. The multi-billion-dollar bottled water industry was built on a massive lie, selling cheap tap water in cheap plastic containers that disrupt your hormonal system and empty your wallet. Corporations rely on consumer laziness, assuming you will never read the fine print or question glossy pictures of snow-capped mountains on their labels. Once you shift your mindset from buying convenient branding to demanding verified geological purity and clean packaging, you instantly stop being a corporate victim. Thank you so much for sticking through this exposé. If this video opened your eyes, please share it with a friend or family member who buys bottled water every single week. They deserve to know what they are actually drinking. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment down below. Which bottled water brand is sitting in your fridge right now? Stay smart, shop carefully, and I will see you in the next investigation.